Uh, we're back. We're back. If we were ever gone, we never left. We're back. Okay. So, um, the story with game one, no Embiid, obviously. Harden goes absolutely berserk. I think people forget that Harden has that in him. And not that I'm saying people forget about like James Harden with the Rockets or anything like that. I do think that the majority of folks believe that he is some early onset form of washed. And yeah, I know I'm a big James Harden guy, but he's not. Like, I don't think he's particularly close. The only thing that I would say is valid about maybe feeling that way is the like little naggy injuries, and then he's had a bad leg for probably about 4 years, and it's on and off, but it really hasn't affected too much of his first step and his burst, and he can still get that step back off whenever he wants. He's still to this day one of the, I don't know, 8 best one-on-one isolation guys in this league. He is still crafty at getting, he gets to the line. Um, James Harden is still very capable of averaging 30 points a game if he was in a system that allowed him to do that, if that was what was expected of him. So, no, I was not part of the crowd that was like, oh my God, I cannot believe he pulled that game out of his ass in game one. Yeah, I mean, surprising to be that good, that efficient on a 45-pointer. Yeah, against the Celtics defense with, and you'd say that Harden's maybe not easy to guard, but the Celtics have guys to throw at him at least. Smart, White. You can even throw some size at him occasionally with Brown and Tatum if you wanted to do that. They didn't really do that. And Derek White clearly wasn't really bothering him. But that was game one. We talked about that one already on the last episode. So game two, we're kind of all hitting refresh on the injury report. We're looking for Joel Embiid, newly crowned MVP. Congratulations, well deserved. And I'm doing the same. I'm seeing, is Joel Embiid going to play in this game? And I'm a little bit unsure, but I'm not checking back and forth for maybe the reasons that one 76ers fan might think. And look, this is not to be a big old like hot takey thing, but I I'm kind of like anticipating his return almost. Like, I hated what I saw in game one so much from James Harden and how well that offense opened up around him in that isolation style that really tormented defenses for about 8 years in Houston, right? And I was so reminded of how daunting it can be to face him in a one-on-one, and they're doing the pick and roll and they're switching the screen. You feel like you have to switch the screen, and then you've got Al Horford on Harden, and I just thought they were going to exploit that again if they got the opportunity. So I almost was like pro Embiid's return because I thought, they literally were saying that he's wearing a huge knee brace. He's wearing a huge knee brace, and they're saying they just want to try to limit damage to the knee sprain. And it's like, that doesn't sound very good or healthy, and I totally think that they probably should have sat him in game two. I also, if I'm the 76ers, could see the value in saying, we just stole game one. We're going to give our absolute best to try to win two in Boston. And honestly, that could have potentially been wraps on the series. You take a 2-0 lead going home. You got Embiid back. I could see the idea and the value in wanting to play Embiid, but ultimately, the Celtics with desperation still at home, probably not going to drop two in a row, right? Probably not going to drop two in a row. And hindsight's 2020. Sue me. Embiid does in fact return, and does not. I don't want to say he looked limited. He looked like Joel Embiid, and sometimes he just, the way he trods around the floor, he can always kind of look a little limited. He and Jokic are actually kind of both that way, where they just move and it looks like they're in pain, but it's just they're so big that that's just how they move, and they can be unstoppable because of that size. And Embiid is that way. Embiid is maybe one of the three most unstoppable forces unguardable players in this league with right there, as with the Giannis and Curry, as far as just guys you can't really game plan for, you can't guard. He didn't look very invincible tonight, though. I would say that. I would just say that I actually couldn't tell you. Let's look at Joel Embiid tonight. Joel Embiid, he only plays 26 minutes. He only takes 9 shots. He's a minus 23 for the game. Still gets 15 points, only 3 rebounds. He was very mortal tonight. He was very, very human tonight. And for the Celtics, that was like the version of Embiid you wanted to get in his first game back. It's really hard for me to say that he's going to somehow turn this around and come this weekend look like MVP Embiid, and play 39, 40 minutes. I just don't see it. He only played 26 minutes tonight. Yeah, it was a blowout, but just in his minutes on the floor, he didn't look that impressive. Just eye test stuff, just saying. Here's how it translated, Embiid being back. The Sixers attempted 8 less threes, not like a huge drastic number, but in game 1, they made 17 of them, and in game 2, they only made 6. With Embiid, or in game 1, they only grabbed 28 boards. Tonight, they grabbed 41. However, they were out-rebounded in both games, and the low number in game 1 may just be because both teams were just drilling, just shooting the piss out of the ball. Like, seriously, that might be why that number is so low. It is. They had 5 more turnovers tonight in game 2 than they did in game 1. That's kind of just the big picture, how it translated. Look, you accuse the James Harden-led offense in that style for being too predictable. I think has always been the knock on it. Like, they're going to take a lot of threes. It's going to be a lot of ISO ball. With Embiid's return, I feel like they were always going to make a concerted effort to get him involved. I mean, he's the MVP of the league. Of course they are. He won the scoring title. They're going to try to get him involved. They're going to throw the ball to him in the post. And sure enough, they did attempt fewer threes, right? I'm not going to say that will keep up for the remainder of the series. But they did look slower tonight. They did not feel like they were playing with the pace and the urgency that they did in game 1. They felt like they played a lot faster in game 1. And, that kind of, I think, caught the Celtics off guard, But sure enough, Celtics do prevail in this one. More on the Celtics side, Tatum is out of this game pretty much the entire time. He only plays 19 minutes, which turns out to be a good thing, because you look at it and it's like you steal a game where Tatum was really, foul trouble early, right? He gets the 3 quick fouls in the first half, and then checks in the third quarter, instantly gets the 4th. And then from that point on, they just went on a run, and then they didn't need him because it started to become a blowout. So he ends up basically getting a night off in a weird sense, which is strange because he starts this game attacking the basket, like 2 quick plays where he's just right at the rim, in your face, going to the line, and then that kind of goes away. And it was really Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown steps up. Second straight game, Jaylen Brown sets the tone of these games. I think Malcolm Brogdon's doubled down on that tonight post-game. And speaking of Brogdon, man, it is so good that they got him as the 6th man of the year. Not like that award is like historically like a huge deal or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, looking at quickly and on the Knicks, and then looking at Brogdon with the Celtics, he just looks like he knows what he's doing. He just looks like he belongs on the floor. He bangs in 6 threes off the bench tonight, and he just is so poised, so confident. And I'm at the point now, where he throws it up, and I'm like, that's in. That just looks good. And he's got the most awkward little push shot, and you can't block it, and he gets it off too fast, and it's cash every single time, it feels like. I haven't seen Malcolm Brogdon miss since like January, dude. He's nuts. Um, but just not enough can be said about Jaylen Brown. Um, his urgency that he's played with in this series so far has been important. To come out just raging out of the gates, and then of course the downfall of game one was I think he only attempted 2 shots in all of the second half. He made sure to not do that. Third quarter, he burst out of the gates, several shot attempts in the first minute, and they were good. And it really propelled the Celtics and gave them the energy. I mean, he brought the energy tonight, and he brought the energy in game one. It just wasn't enough. He kind of tailored off there towards the end of game one, but made sure to correct that tonight, and thank God for it, because he is kind of been the catalyst so far for the Celtics in this first round. And it gets back to this everlasting, everlong dilemma of the Tatum Brown, like yin yang. Like if Tatum's up, then Brown can be a complementary piece and kind of help him out and fill in the gaps. And then when Tatum's down, Brown is on it. He knows, okay, I got to step up. I got to score. If they're sending 2 to Tatum, I have to be ready for the ball and I have to be ready to score. And it's a really special relationship and dynamic that they have. I mean, I believe they did actually finish the season as the highest scoring duo in the league, and you can feel it. You can feel it. This team, I have only ever rooted for them, so I don't know what it's like to root against them, but I can only imagine it being a little bit terrifying, because if one of them's off, they still have another all-star wing who can score 30 points a game, and that's got to be terrifying. And we're going to need more JB in this series, that's for certain, but we are going to need Tatum to refine their groove. And I'm not really saying he was bad tonight. He actually was a game high plus 24. Take that with a grain of salt. I mean, the Celtics were awesome tonight, so make of it what you will. But only in 19 minutes, he was still effective. He found ways to get involved, and it didn't have to necessarily be in the form of scoring. Like I said, I really appreciate the fact that he got basically a night off. Last year you could see he was really tired by the end of it in the finals. He was kind of tired towards the end of game one. He played the entire second half in game one. He was excellent in game one, but you could see him be tired at the end of game one, and getting him some rest here was I think it's going to be pretty important. If we can actually squeeze a few more of these blowout wins in, where we can get Pritchard some minutes, some Muscala minutes, maybe some Blake Griffin minutes, that would be awesome. Celtics tonight attempted double the amount of threes than they did in game one. Joe Mazzulla spoke to it pre-game, post-game. They really wanted to get after the shooting, and they did that. They did just that. I believe it was 53 total threes, and they were falling. It seemed like they were all falling. It seems like Malcolm Brogdon hit all of his shots in like a 3-minute stretch, and TD Garden was just going ballistic. This actually was not the worst, scenario. I know losing game one sucks, but you leave a really good taste in the fans' mouth with game two. If you can split in Philly, I really anticipate that they will. I don't see them going down 3-1 because I think they're going to win the series in 6. I still think they're going to win in 6. They just look way too sharp right now. They just look way too good. And you can kind of come back home and maybe I don't think they're going to close it out in 5, but shoot, I don't know. Could they win both in Philly? Unlikely, but we'll it's just something to keep an eye on. They played really well at home tonight, and I think it's going to bode well for the rest of the series. Very excited, very excited. Like I said, my head was hanging real low after game one, and I have to remind myself to be better. I try to be very optimistic. I try to be a very optimistic voice for this fan base, and I think I failed on that front after game one. But you know, it happens. It's a long playoffs. We're almost in a way just kind of getting started. We still haven't reached the conference finals, but um, God forbid the Celtics lost in the second round. I genuinely I don't know if this show would go on. I don't know if I would go on. I would probably like take up a weird niche hobby. Like I would probably burn all my Celtics paraphernalia just because I couldn't take the torment. But really, this was an awesome bounce back game. I'm gonna take a quick break, regather myself, regroup, watch some Peyton Pritchard highlights. Oh yeah, Peyton Pritchard outscored Jason Tatum tonight. Just throwing it out there. Fast PP, we see you, man. It's gonna kill me when you leave this team. So hopefully we can get you that ring and send you off to your destiny with some middling team. But maybe you can become an all-star, right? So I don't know. The bittersweets of rooting for a team with such insane depth.